Yet, as the world begins to tread on the deep ocean floor, India may have to follow. The draft Indian Telecommunications 2022 bill, which seeks to address problems in the telecom sector, may have far-reaching effects on OTT services, spectrum allocations and other fields. Critically examine. 250 words. In Telegram. Begin by. Next, right. Conclude with a introduction. The draft bill consolidates three separate acts which currently govern the telecommunication sector: the Indian Telegraph Act 1885, Indian Wireless Telegraphy Act 1933, and the Telegraph Wires Unlawful Protection Act 1950. Body. Draft Telecommunications 2022 bill features. OTT regulation. The government has included internet-based and OTT communication services such as WhatsApp calls, FaceTime, Google Meet etc. under telecom services. O. It was the long-standing demand by telecom operators for creating a level playing field. At present, while telecom companies need a license to offer services, OTT platforms do not. O. Further, bringing OTTs under the ambit of telecom services means that OTT and internet-based communications would require a license to offer services. Consumer protection. To curtail the ever-increasing incidence of spam calls and frauds, the draft bill proposes that the identity of the person communicating using any form of telecommunication services shall be available to the user receiving such communication. Role of TRAI. The current draft considerably dilutes TRAI's position in a number of ways, reducing it from a regulatory to a recommendatory body. O. First, the government would no longer be required to seek recommendations from the TRAI before issuing licenses. O. Second, it also removes the power of the TRAI to requisition from the government information or documents that are necessary to make such recommendations. Telegram, https:// YouTube, Facebook. Moreover, the Department of Telecommunications will no longer be required to refer back to TRAI the recommendations for reconsideration, those recommendations that it does not agree with, as it was required to do previously. Internet shutdown. For the first time in the Indian legal framework, a specific provision enabling the government to order suspension of internet power has been introduced through the draft bill. Challenges being addressed. Declining average revenue per user ARPU decline now is sharp and steady, which combined with falling profits and in some cases serious losses, is prompting the Indian telecom industry to look at consolidation as the only way to boost revenues. O. In 2019, the Supreme Court allowed the government's plea to recover adjusted gross revenue of about 92,000 crore rupees from telcos. That further adds to their stress. Limited spectrum availability. Available spectrum is less than 40% as compared to European nations and 50% as compared to China. Low broadband penetration. Low broadband penetration in the country is a matter of concern. As per white paper presented on broadband at the last International Telecommunication Union (ITU), broadband penetration in India is only 7%. Over-the-top OTT applications such as WhatsApp, Ola and so on do not need permission or a pact with a telecommunications company. This hampers the revenue of telecommunication service providers. Huge fluctuations in the duties on telecom equipment which contribute to connecting the whole system from the central server to the consumer. Limitations and concerns with the draft bill. Regulatory overlaps. The broad of the definition of telecommunication services include OTT communication platforms such as WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal among others, may potentially lead to regulatory or jurisdictional overlaps. Unchecked use of state powers. The bill gives broad powers to the central government in prescribed situations without any accompanying checks and balances. The bill empowers the central and state government to intercept messages in the interest of public safety and emergency without the providing clearly defined guardrails for it. Undefined national security. The term national security is left undefined and does not match constitutional precedent or text, which instead uses the phrase in the interests of the security of state. Users less choice in the privacy and security of their digital footprint. Power to prescribe standards under Clause 23, which may result in regulations as recently issued by the Computer Emergency Response Team certain that have resulted in the closure of servers or services by leading global VPN providers such as Proton and Tunnel Bear. Insta-Secure Telegram, YouTube, Facebook, HTTP. All of this practically means that users will have less choice in the privacy and security of their digital footprint, as these powers will lead to requirements to locally register and host data, and comply with requirements to identify users' KYC requirements. Conclusion. There should be some reasonable basis or some tangible evidence to initiate or seek approval for interception by state authorities. Any digression from the ethical and legal parameters set by law would be tantamount to a deliberate invasion of citizens. Value addition. India's telecom industry. The telecom industry in India is the second largest in the world with a subscriber base of 1.17 billion as of 2022. India has an overall teledensity of 85.11%. The industry's exponential growth over the last few years is primarily driven by affordable tariffs, wide availability, the rollout of mobile number portability (MNP), expanding 3G and 4G coverage, and evolving consumption patterns of subscribers. The telecom sector is the third largest sector in terms of FDI inflows, contributing 6.44% of total FDI inflow and contributes directly to 2.2 million employment and indirectly to 1.8 million jobs. Between 2014 and 2021, the FDI inflows in the telecom sector rose by 150% to $20.72 billion United States dollars from $8.32 billion United States dollars during 2002-2014. 100% foreign direct investment (FDI) has now been allowed in the telecom sector under the automatic route. India is on its way to becoming the second largest smartphone market globally by 2025 with around 1 billion installed devices and is expected to have 920 million unique mobile